if we have a mentorship program in World of Warcraft? And I'll
Yeah.
let you talk about this because it's basically your take.
Yeah, so in Star Wars: The Old Republic, they have this system where you can basically flag yourself as a mentor, and people can queue into that system, and you're not carrying them, but you're showing them around, you're answering questions, you're kind of leading them and helping them understand the game a little bit more, and you get incentivized, you get currency and stuff from it, and I think that's super cool. I think there's a lot of people in the game that don't understand PvP. And it's a deep game. And then the same thing, those same players. I mean, there's players that are, Super Tease, who's one of my favorite streamers. He's a very well-known PvP guy. He's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
He won't even do keys because and this guy is super intelligent, man, and he will not get into keys because he doesn't know where to start. And there's a little bit of reluctance because he doesn't want to mess it up for other people, right? So, but having a mentorship program where people can understand, how do I queue LFG? How do I get into a mythic raid? How do I get into a heroic raid? How do I get into a normal raid, right? Instead of these instant queue things, how do I get to that next level without feeling uncomfortable and shy and worried about, how do I unlock these things? I think it's a big deal, and I think you're helping two sides, right? You're rewarding the mentor, and then the mentee can feel comfortable. And I think you had a really good take on this, going back to the rating system. So why don't you touch on that?
Oh yeah, so we talked about how we can rate people after the key is done, and you can just vote them to be the MVP or something like that. So that's gonna be somehow connected to a score that you can see. And then let's say you have a good score that could allow you to actually be a mentor. So maybe there's like a checkbox whether or not you want to do it, because not everybody obviously is going to be wanting to do something like this. But you can check this box, and then you could have a rating, and that could be a leaderboard of itself. Who's like the best mentor, who has the best score. And then once you queue into whatever that session is going to be, where you're going to get mentored, you can see the different people, you can pick from them, and they will be incentivized to have a good score because, as you said, that could be connected to some benefits that they will be getting,
Yeah.
right? They're teaching you to
Yep.
play the game, but then they can get Augie runes or gold or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you would be incentivized to be like that person who has a good score. I don't know if it's a good thing to make this competitive, but it could definitely tie back to some of the other systems and some of the other suggestions that we already had to make the game better overall.
You know what? I'm okay with competition for betterment because the game can be very toxic at
Yeah.
times, especially in certain elements of the game. PvP not excluded, Mythic Plus not excluded. I think Raid there's a little bit more control, but some of the automatic queuing systems earlier you talked about, the 4 vote kick
Yeah.
out of a heroic dungeon, it can get pretty toxic. So putting elements to combat that and making it competitive, I think it's a good thing because you will start to see people, especially if there's significant rewards locked behind positive attitudes. I think that could start to encourage a positive environment and people kind of paying a little bit more attention to not being rude and not being abrasive and maybe being more polite and helpful.
It will, for sure. My only concern with making it competitive, specifically the mentorship program, is that it could create some very hard barriers to entry because the best people are basically going to
Yeah,
get
the rich get
all
richer.
the the rich get richer. They're gonna mentor all the
Yep.
people, and then let's say you are like, "Ooh, I'm 2 weeks late, but like I'm this good player. I can mentor people. I want to get into this. Oh, I have no score, so nobody's gonna
Yeah.
pick me because I'm
Yeah.
somewhere down in that ladder, and everybody's already, you know, taking the
Yep.
cherries on top of the
Yeah.
cake.
See that?
So yeah, it all depends on how they implement it, of course. But as long as there's no entries, barriers to entry, I'm all up for that because I think that's definitely something that I'll be participating and engaging with for sure.